So I'm joined with the head honcho of the Pitman Fight Factory, the man himself, Jon Pitman. How's things?
I'm good, thanks very much.
Very good. So we're here for the media day.
Yeah.
And yes, boxing has stopped. How's things been going given the lockdown and, you know, the close down of small hall boxing?
It's been a bit of a difficult year. I've had it a lot easier than a lot of people. I've got no little kids running around my house.
Jay's not little anymore.
No, this is it. You know, I've been coming in the gym training myself a few hours a day, so it's been right for me. You know, money aside. You know, but now we're back. You know, it's nice to be able to, you know, look to the future. You know, we've finally got a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. It's been difficult keeping the lads motivated.
Yeah.
Especially Jay, he's really struggled. But you know, the fact that I'm a bit older, I can see past.
Not that much older.
Not that much, but you know, I can see past the next few months. You know, so I've been trying to say to him, like, you know, this is a time to improve. So you know, when we are back, you're flying. But it has been really difficult to keep them motivated. But now there's light at the end of the tunnel. Everyone's buzzing. There's people back in the gym. You know, there's small hall shows being booked. The amateur scene looks like it's ready to take off again. So you know, it's all good. You know, I'm still here. I'm still healthy. So that's the main thing.
And I guess it's, you know, now you're a trainer of champions, and Riiddy with that great win against Philip Bowes at the third rescheduling. Talk to us about the feeling, you know, of finally getting the fight on and winning the fight.
Yeah, getting the fight over the line was, you know, like when you watch hours and hours of footage of an opponent, when the fight actually happens, it's nice to go behind you. But with Philip Bowes, it was difficult because I had to keep watching him, and keep watching him, and keep watching him. Now, you know, so we did 3 training camps for that fight, for those fights. So by the time the fight actually came, I was sick of watching him. You know, as was, I'm sure,
Riiddy, everybody, yeah,
and his team were probably sick to death of watching Riiddy. It was quite a difficult fight to prepare for because I think Philip Bowes was an underrated opponent. I think he was
extremely solid,
very technically good.
Yeah,
didn't make a lot of mistakes. Very, very defensively good. So devising a game plan for Riiddy against Philip Bowes was probably the hardest one I've done. Part of the way to get to Philip Bowes was mentally. You know, he's a very respectful person, so really had to be a little bit disrespectful towards him.
Yeah.
Which was trying to.
All part of the game.
Yeah, definitely. But it was nothing personal, and you know, I hope he didn't take it personally. But yeah, we come away with a win. Bit of a strange situation. You know, with no crowds there, really being out of the ring for over a year. So, as with a lot of other fighters that have boxed on the lockdown, the actual performance wasn't as good as I would liked. I think you know, that was, you know, not, you know, it was a good fight. He had to be good to beat.
But there's more to offer.
There was a lot more to offer. Yeah. It was a very difficult situation. And there was a lot of fighters not training, so getting the right sparring was quite hard. But you know, we came through it, won the title,
and now onwards.
And you know, you look into the stands, and there's no one there. You know, so it was a bit of an anti-climax because everyone's gone crazy back in Gloucester.
Yeah,
because they all met up and celebrated. But it was, on one hand, it was quite good because I think if my wife had been there, I would have probably been choking back the tears because it was such a massive
of course.
Moment.
A culmination of a long journey for yourself, and 2 gyms, and Riiddy from an amateur and all the way.
The thing is with Riiddy, it's more than just a coach and a fight. You know, he's family to me.
Yeah, you've been through so much.
We've been through a lot together, and you know, finally getting him over the line and winning that belt was a massive thing. So, not just for him, but for me also. So. Yeah, it was a blessing on one way that they weren't there, but it was also a bit disappointing.
Would it be nice to have everybody there to celebrate?
It would have, and I think there was times in that fight where, and I'm sure it was the same for Philip Bowes as well, where you really needed to dig deep. Having that crowd there, banging the drum, the atmosphere we've had in York Hall and places like that, really carries fighters through.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, you can see it in a lot of fighters' performances over the last lockdown.
When you can hear people doing the pads out the back and they're live on camera, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
It's really weird. And you, being from a coach's point of view, you've got to be very careful what you're saying in the corner. You know, there's certain things that
nothing's masked.
No, there's certain things that you say in the corner that you don't necessarily want anyone else to hear.
Yeah.
But the cameras pick up everything. So, you know, you've got to be mindful of what you're saying and how you're saying it. You know, so, yeah, it would be nice when we all go back to normal and we can all...
Crowds back at ringside, yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
So the Sam Maxwell fight got cancelled in the week of the fight. Unfortunately, really sustaining a back injury. So is his back all right? Now, how's things ticking over?
Training seems to be going really well now. Back to where we should be. Yeah, it was majorly disappointing, not just for us, but you know,
all involved.
But to be honest with you, I know exactly how Sam Maxwell feels because we've been through it with Riiddy and Philip Bowes. So, you know, I did feel sorry for him, even though you know he's not really my concern. Riiddy's my concern. But yeah, it is just, you know, I felt for him that the fact that he'd been put through a training camp in things, you know, happened as it did. But that's boxing, you know, and to beat someone like Sam Maxwell, you need to be on your game, you know, you need to be 100%.
A very good fighter.
If Riiddy had his way, Riiddy would fight, you know, he would fight no matter what. You know,
you had to hold him back.
Oh yeah, 100%. I had to say to him, listen, you know, you need to win this fight, and I believe Riiddy will win the fight as long as he's 100%.
Yeah, there's no one would appreciate it if he had to be pulled out with a back injury. It reminded me a bit of Nicky Cook.
Yeah, I was at that fight.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest anti-climaxes that I've seen on TV. Anyway,
he was fighting Ricky Burns.
Ricky Burns. Was it 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been in there, should he?
Yeah, no, I was at that fight, and I can remember that well. And but you know, at the end of the day, you know, Sam Maxwell's a top fighter. You know, you don't go into fights with people of that caliber, you know, half ready. You know, you just don't. You can't do that. So. You know, it was a difficult decision, but it was one that had to be made. And I'm sure, you know, if the boot was on the other foot, they would have done. They would have had to do the same thing if they were in opposition. So now we're just, you know, we're looking forward. Hopefully, we'll be getting the fight on sort of towards the end of June.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can get on.
And talking about Sam Maxwell's style, seems to be very heavy-handed, but he is hittable, isn't he? So, what are your thoughts on Sam Maxwell? You know, as a fighter, the way he fights.
Oh, he's technically perfect.
Reminds me a bit of Kell Brook.
Yeah, you know, I think he's less awkward than Kell Brook. I think Kell Brook is very difficult to hit. I don't think Sam is as hard to hit as Kell Brook. Having said that, does everything well. You know, you've got to be very careful where you're putting yourself. You know, if he hits you, you're in trouble. He's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But as Riiddy's proved time and time again, you know,
he's got something unique, hasn't he? And I think I'm not just not banging the drum, or you know, he fights.
He's very difficult
in a special way, doesn't it?
Very, very difficult to hurt. You know, I've seen him spar with countless world champions, and I've seen him hit, and I've seen him hit hard, not just in sparring, in fights as well. And
on that note, I was saying to Riiddy himself that people will look at his record and think that he can't punch because he hasn't got the stoppage wins. How would you respond to that? Because it's a criticism that's going to come up, whether I mention it or not. How would you respond?
Punches a lot harder than people think he does. He nearly had Foley out of there. You can't win a British title and not be able to punch to some level, because people will just walk straight through you. You know, he hasn't got that one punch power Sam Maxwell's got, but underestimate him at your peril. You know, you don't beat the people that Riiddy's beat without, you know, having something there. There's been who else was it? what was it, Freddie Hewitt. If he had had more experience, Freddie Hewitt, he would have got Freddie Hewitt out of there.
That was at the York Hall. He beat Freddie Hewitt for the Southern era.
No, that was for the English Eliminator.
Excuse me, the English Eliminator.
Really didn't quite have enough experience to know when to unload and what to keep back. He hadn't done anything over 6 rounds when he fought them. So there's been times when he's very nearly got lads out of there, but hasn't quite followed it through. Sam Maxwell, on the other hand, as you know, his power is not questionable. You know, he has got that one punch power, but he can also be hurt. You know, there is holes in his game, like there's holes in everybody's game. Been
flawed and badly hurt on a number of occasions, hasn't he?
Yeah. So you know, I hope Sam Maxwell does underestimate Riiddy's power. That's all about good for us. But yeah, he's Riiddy's one of those fighters that you watch him on YouTube and you think, I can beat him. Get in the ring in front of him, and he's completely different to how you think he's going to be. And I don't know, it's just weird. You see him, and he just doesn't box like you think he's going to box. Do you know what I mean? And
a bag of tricks.
Oh man, he's a bag of tricks. He does everything wrong. He hits you from angles that you shouldn't really be getting hit from. He's very difficult to hurt.
Where did his style come from? Because you've been with him since the unpaid days. Is it just something that he does what feels natural, or?
Riiddy's always been like, he's always had a unique style, but I just think that you need to get fighters to move. So, you know, a lot of the way he fights is just natural, but we've also tried to improve it as well. The same with Shabir. You know, I ain't getting punching from angles, not staying off the line. But a lot of what Riiddy does, he just does. You know, he's
instinctive.
Watching him in a Laura Davis spar, both of them have got such long arms. It's weird, you know. But yeah, he's very difficult to train for. He's difficult to get the right sparring for because he's so unorthodox. But it'd be interesting to see how their styles gel.
Yeah,
it could be a really boring fight. It could be a really exciting fight. So we'll find out.
And he's got a WBO Maxwell rating of 10, so he's world ranked. And for some reason, Riiddy and I were chatting. Riiddy, after winning those junior belts, the WBC Youth and the IBF European, he's not ranked. What's going on?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he was promised he was going to get a top 10 ranking with the IBF after the European fight.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. I don't know. I really don't know.
Have to all scratch our heads and look at each other a bit and decide how it works.
I think if he was with Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren, things would probably be different. But the bottom line is, he is where he is. You know, I'm sure once he beats Sam Maxwell, that will change. You know, it's not the end of the world not having that ranking. He's still got the belts.
Yeah.
So that puts him in a good position. It's a good bargaining tool. And I'm sure everything will work out on the night, and we move forward and see what's next.
Yeah. So I mean, it's always dangerous to look one fight or past the next fight. But I'm going to talk about the future. You know, now boxing's getting underway a bit more. Hopefully, you got the top level. You got Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall, and I think it's fair to say that might be a bit of a way off. Although don't know how ambitious Riiddy is at this. You know, level underneath: Tyrone McKenna, O'Hara Davis, Robbie Davis Jr., locally Joe Hughes. I don't know what would you? Does he want to win the Lonsdale outright? Does he want to box these guys?
I mean, at the end of the day, whatever MTK come up with is between them and Riiddy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't tend to worry too much about what's coming next. You know, my job is to get him through this, to make him the best he can be for this fight. It's MTK's job and Riiddy's job to come up with where they want to go. I'm not sure. I mean, any of those fighters really. What makes sense? You know, what makes sense for Riiddy? You know, the European would be nice as long as it's not in Spain. After the.
Were you not impressed with the Barcelona? Was it officiating that seems to?
You know, like Tanda Martin won that fight. You know, it's not that's not the issue.
Against K Prosper.
Yeah, I mean, K Prosper put up a brilliant fight, but it was almost like the judge was trying to pull him back every time he sort of landing punches, and I just thought it was the worst worst reffing I've ever seen. So there's no way that I would be advising Riiddy to go and fight in Spain against a Spanish fighter. But I wouldn't mind that fight over here. It would be nice to have the backing of a Frank Warren or an Eddie Hearn. It's nice. It'd be nice to be part of one of those stables, and I'm sure by beating Sam Maxwell, that's going to come.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, whatever happens in the future, whatever Riiddy wants to do, and I'm sure MTK and Riiddy will choose the right path.
Here's another thing I wanted to touch on. So he is an awkward fighter to box. There's whichever way you cut it, and that's a good thing for him because it means he wins. But it also means that probably some people will try and stay away from him. What's your thoughts about that? And now people have to come to him a bit more, but well-connected fighters will find another route potentially.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on kind of?
Well, before he had the British and the Commonwealth, nobody wanted to fight him. And why would they? He was calling out like Lewis Ritson, and I was saying to him at the time, mate, Lewis Ritson is not going to fight you. Why would he? He's already up there. You're not offering him anything. So Riiddy is very good at getting under people's skin.
Yeah.
And creating fights for himself. He did that with Glenn Foote. That fight happened because of Riiddy and Glenn Foote talking on social media. But I think that he is avoided, but I think there's a lot of fighters in his division who want to fight. I don't think that he's because he hasn't got that knockout record, and you do look at him on YouTube and think I can beat him. That's where people's downfall is because they look at him and he doesn't look as hard to beat as he is. So I think when you've got a bargaining torch as the British or whatever, MTK seem to be very good at delivering what they say they're going to deliver. So I'm sure the right fights will come at the right time.
Lovely. And before we call it a day, the heart goes out a bit to Max Mudway's young career prior to lockdown was really flying. He was 4-0. Really impressive in those 4 fights. Tremendous work rate, tremendous following, tremendous fitness, tremendous skills. And then everything gets switched off for him.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but you can say the same about a lot of other boxers in the country. The bottom line is nobody saw this coming. We've all had to deal with it in our own way. There's a lot of people worse off than Max, than me. We're all here, we're all healthy.
100%.
He's in a pretty good place physically and mentally. He's got a baby on the way.
Engaged.
Yeah, he's engaged, but he's also engaged to the right girl. A girl who's going to support him and a girl who's backs him.
Yeah.
There's people say that women in boxing are a distraction. They're only a distraction if it's the wrong girl. When you've got the right person behind you, it can make all the difference. And Max has got the right girl behind him. So, as soon as Max gets this next fight out of the way, he might be a bit of rust there, but he's always going to be an exciting fight, Max.
Lovely. And before we finish, could you talk a little bit about the Afghan warrior looking to turn professional?
Yeah, Shabir, so he's ready to go. He's had his medicals, brain scans, everything's done.
Good. Sorry, his surname, John?
Shabir Riiddy.
Shabir Riiddy. So brain scans done and ready to make his paid bow?
Yeah, he's at the moment, the only bout he's got scheduled is September the 18th on the Martin Nielsen show. Hopefully John Pegg will be able to get him out maybe before then on one of the shows in Birmingham. There's a big buzz around Shabir. He's beaten some very, very top level amateurs. Massively powerful, can knock people out with both hands, switch hits all the time. He's really is the complete package. He's very fit, devout Muslim, so he lives very clean. He's got it all there.
Lovely talker as well.
Do you know what? The only thing that I would say that is a problem for Shabir is he likes everything to be perfect, and I know from experience that when you're getting pro fighters ready, there's always injuries, there's always things going wrong, and you've got to sometimes work through that.
Expect things to go wrong.
Yeah, expect injuries, work through them, and I think that's the one thing you'll have to get his head around is the fact that not everything is always perfect. But I'm sure that we'll work that out, and he will be really exciting to watch. He's definitely got a lot of potential to go a long way.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much, and congratulations on your Riiddy success.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Very well deserved.
Brilliant. Cheers, Will.